All right. All right, so how are you, Mr. David Akerman?
I'm Baruch Hashem, Givaldig.
Givaldig?
Really great.
Amazing. Okay, so we're here, and let's discuss how I know you and how you know me. Mm-hmm. So first of all, how do you know me?
So how do I know you? We go way back to Noam Day Camp. Shout out Noam. Both counselors, but I think we really saw our spirits come out during like Tisha B'Av and Color War, like during those productions and the skits and the music and all that good stuff. And, we stayed in touch. You definitely had the Parsha thing where you would send out pictures every week and, I'd follow on that. And then we stayed in touch. And over the past year, as you've been gearing up for this production, we've been schmoozing. And so, it's great to be here.
Finally. Yeah, so I know you exactly the same way. So more like Kosher plays and skits and fun stuff. I also got to know that you're a documentarist.
Documentarian.
Yeah, so we found that it's the same word. This actually means the same thing. Mm-hmm. So documentarist will look my tongue much better. So you do documentaries on YouTube.
Yeah, so about a year ago, I started a channel called Yiddishkeit. And on this channel, it's basically whatever rabbit hole I'm currently going through, or going on or going in. I kind of channel that. I YouTube channel my thoughts into videos. And you can call it documentaries. You can call it video essays, as the kids call it. And it's usually just kind of a topic I'm interested in. I'll write an essay and then turn that essay into a video. And I've kind of noticed what people are interested in. So I started off really very obscure topics. One of which inspired our talk today about kind of the history of Rosh Hashanah and like the development of different minhagim and where does that come from. I had another one about the history of Hanukkah songs and how that developed from like Mos Tzur, all the way to like Maccabees, like to go through that whole trajectory. But the truth is that is a very niche topic. There's only a couple hundred people that care about that. Mm-hmm. So I've since branched out a little bit more, a little wider net. So talking about Jewish films, like films that depict Jewishness, and talking about what is the message that film is trying to give over, and have some interesting documentaries on the way. I don't want to talk about just yet, counting chickens before they hatch and whatnot. But that's the channel. So I feel like I have a lot of, passionate Jewish nerdy energy that I would love to share with you, and hopefully people can take away something from it.
It's Jewish nerdy energy. I like that. So you have a kind of a privilege to have an interesting outlook because you're not in the box. Some of us are not in the box, but we have to kind of maybe break out of the box or create our own box. So what box are you from?
That's a great question. Yeah. So where I come from, I was raised yeshivish, went to Mir Yeshiva for the most part, went to Zuckers, and work now in Jewish schools. So, definitely within the yeshivish world. Also, we know each other from Chassan Sefer, so familiar with the Heimish world. But my background is Soviet. So both my parents are Soviet immigrants, and, Bali Tshuva in like the 80s and 90s. And so a lot of what I learned about Yiddishkeit was, partially through my parents, but a lot of it came from yeshiva. Like we don't have like a very deep Masera when it comes to a lot of the history. So a lot of it is much more cultural from where we come from. So like speaking to my grandparents, let's say the two big things that we took from the Soviet Union, I guess I should, before I say that, just take a step back. So the Soviet Union was famously very repressive against any sort of unique identity, whether it was religious or ethnic. Like it was very difficult to express that. So particularly for, Yiddishkeit, for Jews, it was very hard to be like a unique Jew and to express Jewishness. And so whatever people did maintain had to be very subtle. It had to be very deep. Like it couldn't be all the surface level stuff, and even some important things, davening, learning, beliefs, like a lot of that went out the window. And, obviously my parents kind of came back to that or refound it later on post Soviet Union. But the stuff that did stay with them, like really spoke to their souls and was like something that could really stay. So the two things that remained was certain Yiddishisms, like certain words that I'm still surprised, like my grandmother or grandfather would just throw out random Yiddish every now and then. I'm like, where did that come from? And then food. Food is also a really big way that Yiddishkeit was preserved in the Soviet Union. So, for example, matzah was one thing that they had. You know, it's like a whole thing. It's like someone should make a mafia movie about it where you pick up, it's like, you got the thing? Yeah, we got the thing. I'll come to your house, I'll pick up the thing. But, you know, get matzah for Pesach, you know, like March time. You know, my father would tell me how they would make like gefilte fish for special occasions, hamantashen, things like that. Kreplach, pilmeni, as it's called. And pilmeni, you know, like certain specifically Jewish foods that, you know, kind of blended into the Russian milieu, and they were able to preserve that. And then in America, it kind of expanded, you know, like cheesecake for Shavuos and things like that. So having specific foods to like let you know that a certain season is coming is also, it's very deep, at least for me, like in our family. And so that's like a big part of the way I express my Yiddishkeit is like through the food, which I guess we'll get to soon, how it relates.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Food is like a connector. Food speaks. So it's like, if you, I mean, you can identify anyone by the food they eat, really. It's like you eat noodles. Well, where are you from? You eat beans. Where are you from? And we eat gefilte fish. It's like, yeah, we know where we're from. So very interesting, very interesting. So so you have clearly a unique approach from where you come from, and I'm all for it. And I'm ready to hear some stuff about Rosh Hashanah and Elul, because where I grew up, Elul is kind of like scary and spooky. It could be it's supposed to be that way. It could be it's not supposed to be. I'm not really sure, because I know that there are a lot of different types. But where I grew up in the yeshivas that I went into, they had, Elul, it was crazy. It was like, and they told stories about, Rosh Hashivas. They used to say that the fish used to shiver every single, even they heard that El might be coming like right after, Tisha B'Av or something. It was crazy, and everybody just went nuts. And it was definitely real. Like back then, like they felt it. They really felt it. There are still some people that probably feel that. There's like an awe of like, the Day of Judgment. But recently I started hearing that it's not necessarily that like Day of Judgment, that scary doom and gloom. So I want to hear from you, because I heard you have some views on this. Let's hear.
Sure. So yeah, I definitely came prepared. Got my notes and stuff.
You got the machzer.
But exactly, my machberes.
Machberes. Right.
But this is not just me ranting. I kind of want to bounce my ideas off of you, and hopefully, the viewer listening can take something away from that. To your point about I think that exists, and I think it exists for a reason. We can get into that as well. But the question is, does it work? Like, does it work for you? It sounds like, not to put words in your mouth, but it doesn't necessarily work. Fear of God is an important thing, but does that necessarily inspire growth? I can speak for myself. Most of the time, not. Some in small doses, a little bit. Yes, it's necessary, but it makes it very hard to connect. I don't respond well to doom and gloom, to judgment, like you're a bad person, and fire and brimstone. I actually heard a rabbi once say, it's funny, he said, Jews are the only people that are scared of their own holidays. And I think that's very true. Like, it's our time to be, happy and to connect with each other, to Hashem, to our higher power, however you conceive of that, to our community, to reflect. Like, it's supposed to be a beautiful thing. It's not supposed to be doom and gloom. I think also another important thing is that some people do resonate with the doom and gloom. That's what speaks to them. It's how they're conditioned. That's what works for them. So great. We're not here to knock that. But
there's a like, people will always bring the Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem, that I guess you're not smart if you don't fear Hashem. And it's like, Yira doesn't necessarily mean like anxiety. Like, it's not like this fear. It means awe. I'm in awe. When you're in awe of a giant tower, you just can't fathom it. It's like, whoa, this is huge. This is beyond me. I'm not even going to try to think about it. This is so crazy beyond me. So you listen to whatever it tells you to do. I mean, not that the tower tells me to do, but but like Hashem will tell you something to do, and he's just so beyond your imagination. It's like, I'll do whatever. And that's chachma. That's being smart. That's understanding that there's something that I don't understand. And that's step one. Not this terror of like anxiety, like, oh no, he's gonna take a giant hammer and he's gonna smash me, he's gonna put me straight into the fire, into the deepest fire. I'm like, come on. That's just scaring me into doing something. That's like, when they shoot warning shots, to like a crowd, and they want it to disperse a crowd, and it's like, well, what are you? This is a game. It's not a game. So
Right.
we want to hear what this awe and this love, and there's two parts. There's the awe and the love. So let's hear more about well, I guess it's a combination of both, but you're probably coming more from the ahava perspective, the love perspective.
Right. And just to that point, I like that you mentioned yira and awe, like it's called yamim noira'im, that point of being in awe. And, like when you look, for me, great music, great paintings, a great book, great food, like that puts you in a state of like, wow, I'm connected to like the universe. And that feeling can really inspire someone to do great things. You look at a great piece of art, that inspires you to go make art. And so I think that's kind of my approach. It's very much kind of like two poles when it comes to this, like two extremes. And one of them is heart versus mind, like you're saying. And yeah, I definitely love the nerdiness, but when it comes to like actually embracing stuff, I think what speaks to the heart is what speaks to me. So yeah, I think there's a couple of levels here. So let me look in my sefer. So, okay.
Sefer Zechronis.
Sefer HaZechronis. I put together a list, and I wonder if you agree with my list of the top Rosh Hashanah, Yom Narayim, Elul songs.
Okay.
And we'll go through it.
So this is how you prepare?
Yeah, so there's a few things I do. Yom Tovim that I love, which I would say is probably like Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah. Those are like my top three. Are probably the most anxiety inducing, maybe not Hanukkah, but like Pesach and Rosh Hashanah, I feel like people freak out over. And I felt in recent years, I definitely feel like those are my favorite ones. And I think
Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah.
The what now?
Pesach, Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah.
Yeah, I feel like those are the most fun because they have the most amount of tradition attached to it. I guess Purim is what most people connect to because there's food, there's music, there's creativity, but
the world doesn't really know about Purim as much as they know about Hanukkah, Pesach, and what was the other one? You said Rosh Hashanah?
Rosh Hashanah, yeah.
For some reason, our culture, like the cultural side of Judaism, ended up in these three holidays. It's true. Like nobody knows about Shavuos. These people don't really know about Sukkot. And it's like, Hanukkah became the thing. Then you have Rosh Hashanah because it's, New Year's, or whatever. And then you have Pesach, because it's much more, because that's where tradition actually gets passed down.
Exactly.
Pesach.
Yeah, we definitely need to come back and talk about Pesach because we can...
There's a whole lot.
Yes, there's a lot there, but I think all of them have music, they have food, they have like a lot of very deep culture that's not just like what most people perceive as surface level. I think there's a lot to it behind it. And a lot of art. And I think, to me, that really inspires me, like you were saying, puts me in awe. It's like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. This is where I'm supposed to be going. This is how I'm supposed to connect. So what do you say? Should we go through them?
Let's go through the list and let's upset some viewers. Let's go.
We're looking at you.
Yeah, so this is coming from his perspective, and we're gonna see how he prepares. Let's go.
So I have a bunch of songs. I guess tell me how you think we should do this. Should I just go through it, and you want to rank it from 1 to 10?
It's like I'm not gonna know the next one, and I'll be able to give it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Is it 10 songs?
So it's a little more than 10. And
how many?
I have 12. I have 12 songs.
So you rank them from 1 to 12. 12 being the highest, 1 being the lowest.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Let's do that. Okay.
So
okay.
When you start off,
I have to know the song, so I might not know the song. We'll see.
I think you'll know most of these, and if not, with my beautiful voice.
Let's do this. Oh, you'll sing it to me. Okay.
I'm expecting you to sing too. I feel like I'm a doctor here.
Who knows? Let's see.
Dr. Judaism in the house. So when you start off with like Rosh Hashanah music, the first place my mind goes to is to Ishay Ribo. He has so many different songs for Elul, Rosh Hashanah, So I think the first one, actually, I'm curious, what pops into your mind? Which Ishe Ribo song?
So not for Rosh Hashanah necessarily, but it pops into
The whole Zman.
I think it's called Avoida. I'm not sure what's the Kohanim.
Yes.
That one is beautiful. That's more for Yom Kippur. Even I think we don't say it on Rosh Hashanah. It's Yom Kippur.
But that counts. That's
really
the whole
gets me in.
category.
Yeah, I can listen to that song and I'm in. I feel like I'm in the Beis Hamikdash and I'm listening to the Kohen Gadol saying, Baruch Shem.
Wow. Yeah. So let's start with that one.
Oh, it's on the list.
That was actually the first one on the list.
What's it called?
It's called Seder HaAvayda.
I'm putting that at number 1.
Oh, wow.
I mean at number 12.
Number 12.
That's the top.
Okay.
Right there.
So I'm locking you in there for number 12. So yeah, that one also, when I first heard it, I was very skeptical. I was like, oh, what are those? But I think because someone was showing it to me, I was kind of, what's the word? I was resisting it. I was like,
but I don't want to listen to your music.
Yeah, don't push your Seder HaAvayda on me.
Yeah, here.
And then later I started listening to other Ishe Ribo songs that weren't like, strictly Rosh Hashanah themed. And then I came onto this one. I was like, wow, this one hits the spot.
It's a story. It's like you're listening to a story happening and it's like unfolding. Things are not like a story once upon a time. It's like these things happen every single year and you're listening to the Seder of the Avodah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think also as someone, I really struggled as a teenager to pay attention in shul on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur.
Sorry.
And my first strategy was actually to just read a bunch of books. Like I think a lot of people do that, like flip through the Machzor, read the commentary, then I got the survival kit. Do you know about that?
No.
Really? Okay. So let's go on a tangent. So there's a bunch of different books. I read a book about Elul or Rosh Hashanah, but the one that like everyone always recommends, you should put it on the screen, it's called like the Rosh Hashanah Survival Guide, something like that.
By who?
I believe his name is Appisdorf. I hope I'm saying that right. And it basically just goes through like the meaning of Rosh Hashanah. But again, it was speaking very much to the mind, like, oh, it's this, it's great. I'm sure it's a great book and people might enjoy it. But after a while, I kind of like outgrew that. It's funny, you should look up the picture afterwards. You'll see it's like 3 different people and they all cannot stand being in shul. And like one of them is checking his watch. Another one's like sleeping. Another one has like upside down machzor. And that very much captures like the energy that I was feeling. So I related to that. But after a while, I'd say like, middle of high school, I was like, I don't want to be reading. I don't want to be intellectually stimulated. I want to speak to my soul. And so I made it like a thing that I'm going to learn all the tunes. And I'm going to like stand next to the chazan by the bima. And I'm just going to, everything that I'm going to sing along with him. And I grew up in a shtibel, so we didn't have like a choir or anything. Mm-hmm. So like every voice counted. And I realized that like I was contributing to the atmosphere, but I was also learning all the tunes.
It's like the nusach also, you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when it came to that part, it's like, so it's very like eerie, ooh, spooky. So then when I heard the Ishe Ribo song, that was also part of my resistance. I was like, what are you changing?
You formed a box, see?
Was that?
You got into a box.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're talking about the yeshiva nusach, like the typical.
I guess so. Although I grew up in a shtibel, so it was like, I guess the...
what type of shtibel? Like what?
So it was Rabbi Gornish, the Shalom. Where's that psalm? I'm not sure.
It was a Litvisha.
So it was. I would say the best way to describe it was Heimish. It was. He was Hasidish. I think he was Ziditchev.
Ziditchev.
I'm mispronouncing that, okay. But most of the congregation was, like Litvish, Yeshivish. But it was like a Venn diagram, so I would call that Heimish. Yeshivish and Hasidish like kind of met in the middle. So, we daven Nusach Sfard, but most people had like a Litvish Havara, like, right. So it was like partially Hasidish tunes and partially Yeshivish.
Right, a lot of times I have a blend. Yeah, that's how I grew up also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, because like later on, I would daven in like a regular Litvish shul and I recognized most of the tunes from there. But then every now and then, I'll listen to like Hasidish songs and I recognize that from the shul also. So it had a mix of both. But yeah, anyway, so back to Ishe Ribo, when I was listening to that, I initially had that resistance, like, why are you changing the tune? But I think because of what I think Ishay Ribo and a lot of contemporary artists bring to the table is like we're kind of breaking out of the box. We're bringing that awe, that eeriness, but it's in a very modern kind of rock and roll almost vibe. And that is very relatable.
Okay.
Also. Okay, but there's
Next.
a couple of other
So we're at 12.
Ishay Ribo songs. So I'm going to give you the option. You can either just lock in Ishay Ribo at number 12, Seder Avaida,
Yeah.
or you can take some of his other songs and put them on the list. I decided to put all of them under Ishay Ribo. So there's another one, Ata Zecher. Do you know this one? Don't know. It's called Na 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 Na. It
probably didn't talk to me. That's probably why I don't remember.
Should definitely check it out. I
have to get into the zone again. I got to listen to the whole thing again.
Oh my God. I've been in Rosh Hashanah mode for the past month. I'm not exaggerating.
Okay.
There's 2 songs coming up that I'm literally on repeat and okay, we'll get there.
So I don't know. So this is not part of it?
So I guess if you don't know it, I put it all under Ishay Ribo, so I counted all the songs as one. And there's one more from him. There's a bunch, but these are like my top 3, which is, Milstein.
That's a beautiful one. That's like it's not his, right? It comes from like Kalbach or something?
Something I don't know. Yes. Exactly.
So it's interesting. So it probably does come from there.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who it comes from. I was hoping you would know this. You're more the expert on...
Someone once mentioned something to me about it. I'm not sure. It could be Kalbach has both versions. I'm not sure. Kalbach has certain songs where he does 2 different things. Like he has... Mikael is my that's one version.
Yes.
So he sings it 2 different times, 2 different things. I don't know.
Yeah. Man, we're gonna have so many earworms at the end of this. Yeah. Oh my God. This again, you could just see how it's just like it's flowing. But yeah, so Milstein is definitely up there. What I love about his version is it starts off with like the drums, like
beatbox,
and then it goes when you hear like the bass guitar, and then there's just something about that
eeriness to his voice. Also, like this, like you could just relax.
Yeah,
it gives a relaxing vibe to the whole davening, because sometimes you're just on edge. Like, okay, when's shofar? When's this? When are we just bowing down so we can eat a sandwich? No, I'm kidding.
Wow,
blast from the past. Yeah,
that is an inside reference. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, so it kind of, if you tune into that relaxing, just like I'm safe here. This is shul, and Hashem is here, and I'm talking to Hashem, and Hashem's talking back to me, and it's just a nice time. I'm relaxing.
Exactly. I love that. Okay, let's move on. So we locked in Ishay Ribo at 12. Let's see. You may regret that, you may not.
Yeah.
But you seem pretty confident. All right, next one we got is... So
that's not necessarily Ishay Ribo, right?
Right. So I think it's Lipa Schmelzer.
Well, he sings, I think, as a Shmuel Brazil.
Oh, is it?
As far as I know, it is. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. I would not put it on top of Seder Havaida. I'm just sorry. I would.
Okay.
I would put that at number 8. Sorry, at number 10. I forgot it's not till 10. Put that at number 10.
Number 10. Okay. So yeah, happens to be I love the Lipa version. That's the one I know.
Beautiful.
And it also has this like weird eeriness at the beginning. And I think it's
dramatic.
Yeah, it's like evoking that feeling of awe, but it's not like you're about to die. It's like
Yeah, I want to tell you this. Ever since I heard the Lipa version of that song, which is the first time I heard that song, I'm connected to it a lot. And I try to buy Psicha from Musaf every single year, Rosh Hashanah. Sometimes I'm not successful, but I try just so I can give it out to whoever I want, and I get Heiligeh Tingles because I connect to that part. It's like this. I don't even know most of the words, like what they mean. I'm not sure, but for some reason that moment is special for me because I connected to the song.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Like some of it is simple and easy to understand, but a lot of it is just like flowing, you know, and connecting. And we're going to keep mentioning that point because it's like, that's the key here. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you feeling? What am I feeling inside? And when I hear these songs, especially when they have that like eerie, soft rock feel to it, and klezmer has its time and place, and like Hasidish, Herzige stuff has its place, but I feel like for this in particular, like the soft rock just brings it home, and it's kind of like saying like, it's gonna be okay, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so then let's go to the next one. So there's this thing called Summer Project. Are you familiar with the Summer Project?
No.
So I wasn't really familiar. I didn't really look it up, but I'm not sure exactly. Maybe we should look it up next time. But the Summer Project is, they take a bunch of like classic nigonim from Hasidish, Chabad, and they do covers of it with a lot of popular artists. So they did one with like Asaf Harush and people like that. But this one, I love their version of it with Yonatan Razel. It's Yala Tachananenu. Do you know that?
I don't know it, but
it goes, Yale tachananenu mi'erev v'yo.
Is that tune? I know the tune. It's for
that might actually be where it's from.
I think that's where I know it from. It's possible that people just apply it to that part, but
you know what? They actually do that a lot. They take like a tune from one place and words from another, and they just combine it.
It's nice.
So it feels like super familiar, but new at the same time. Mm-hmm. Something called Vuja Day. Are you familiar with that concept?
Like deja vu.
It's the opposite of deja vu. Deja vu is something that is new but feels familiar. This is something that's familiar but feels new.
Vuja Day.
And sounds like a karate move.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So where are you going to put that tune?
That's to try to remember the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Let's put that at number 11.
Wow. So we're putting that up there.
I'm sorry. Yeah. This is what I grew up with.
By the way, yeah. So this one, also, again, I totally recommend you, for sure, and the audience to go listen to this because it has this soft rock element to it. And it kind of feels like I'm at the beginning of like a movie about Rosh Hashanah. It's like, and you're just like listening to it. And I just feel like, yeah, I'm about to enter a shul. I feel like it looming above me. The sun is setting.
Walking to shul.
We're in blue hour. And I'm just like, so good.
Also, Yonatan Razel has phenomenal voice. Similar. It's also very, very soothing, very, very calming.
Yeah.
Love it. I love anytime he puts something out, it's just like, it's beautiful.
Sparkles, tingles. Mm-hmm. Heiligeh Tingles. Speaking of.
The Heiligeh Tingles.
That's the name of this episode.
Yes, the Heiligeh Tingles.
The next one on the list, and there's a bunch of versions of this song, but I personally recommend, again, Summer Project with Natan Goshen.
Okay, I don't know.
And it's Ki hine kacho eimer v'yad hayoytzer b'tzoi soy mochi t'loi soy mekatzer Kein anachnu b'yodo.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put it anywhere up there. That's not one of my favorites. For some reason, this is more of a traditional type of Jewish song to me.
Yes, fair.
More like modern Orthodox. I didn't grow up with it. I heard it maybe later, so it's very traditional. Like, not traditional in like everyone knows it, and traditional in like very only traditional places have it. Like very.
Oh, I see.
Not like Hasidic places. They're not going to sing that really.
So it feels a little foreign to you.
Foreign. I did hear in like a kid's tape. I think it was like, I don't know, like one of Yitzchok's tapes. Like, I know when Moshe come, something like that. That's the only way I know.
That's funny.
So I'm going to put it at a 3. Sorry.
Okay. You hurt my feelings a little bit.
That's good.
But I won't take it personally. No, it happens to be this song. I'm not going to exaggerate or lie to you, has been on repeat. And I think
if I listen to that version, I change my mind.
Yeah, you should definitely go listen to it. maybe for next time when we do another round of songs that you have to rank, I'm going to send you a playlist that you'll listen to first.
Before. Okay.
And yeah, oh my gosh, like the way this song goes, I've been like blasting it and just yelling it. Like my neighbors probably hate me at this point. You have the
whole thing going on in your head now. The whole
my
music,
God.
everything.
Got a whole world.
What's next?
The truth is that in Rabbi Gordon's shul, we actually sing it with a different tune. So you're right. Like I'm realizing it. Okay. Here's a little curveball for you. Okay. So then let's go with some Zusha.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a song. And
then he goes.
Again, we get that eerie. The Heiligeh Tingles.
Our studio audience is loving it. Let's take the music. Can we get him a chair? You need a chair? So, wow. So that makes me feel a lot of, for sure, Elul. Like not Rosh Hashanah necessarily, but I know it is about Rosh Hashanah because of Melech, Malchus. But there's a different song that has those words that takes its place for Rosh Hashanah. That's the I can vibe to that song from Rosh Hashanah until way after Simchas Torah. Like,
yes.
I caught myself singing it like the entire summer. It's just, it for some reason it means a lot to me. But that one definitely gets me into Elul. It's a little more introductory than the actual thing. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
Mm-hmm. So lock it in.
Lock it into 8. So we have 8, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, and a 3.
And a 3. Threw it in there. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of things that came up. First of all, I didn't include that song because I felt like it was a little bit too run-of-the-mill, but I totally agree. And the second part of that song, at least the Avram Fried version, has the Anim Zmiris. And the high part of that, also, like I can just scream that on the top of my lungs.
MBD sings that also. I think she's so... As far as I'm aware, these are both our Chabad songs. Chabad has the biggest treasury of songs. People say, Majitz has songs. For some reason, I connect to Chabad songs way more than anything else. They have so much, and it's so deep. So I think Chabad got like the Shar Nagina was like, it's just for Chabad. Like they went into that. I know that I think the first, the Alter Rebbe, the Alatanya, so he made songs, a lot of songs as far as I'm aware of. But the first one that I connected to was Arba Bavis. Arba Bavis, it's...
How does that go?
Has like 4 stanzas, they call it. It's for 4 parts, and it's just beautiful. I think I walked down to Chuppah to it. A lot of people do it, and that supposedly he went up there and he got it somehow. Like he went into the Shire Nagino and found it. It's that was the first one that got me connected to that, and I started listening to it. And while I was listening to it, it recommended a bunch of other Chabad songs. And I got into this Chabad Centennial Symphony something, the Yisrael Lamb and Avram Fried, and it was just, they go through so many, and they do these beautiful like mashups between a bunch of Chabad songs. It is worth a listen to if you like classical music especially, but they take all of Chabad's stuff, all Chabad's music and everything, and they just put it into one long album, and it's gorgeous.
Wow.
It's crazy. So I got to know a lot of songs by that. But yeah.
Yeah, the Chabad definitely kind of owns, I shouldn't say they own Rosh Hashanah, but they have a lot of good stuff.
They definitely own Tishrei.
Yeah, I didn't grow up on the Chabad songs, and so I was like learning some of them, like they have like Napoleon's March or something. Oh, really? That's what it is? Okay. I was just like confused. I'm like, what is Napoleon doing in this Jewish album? But
I think the Balatani had to do with the Napoleon, like something over there.
I guess that makes sense.
At that time.
Historically. Yeah. Okay. Next we get to a very interesting song. So there's the words, we'll just recite them. B'haviosim, but there's really 3 different versions. So I'm curious which version you like best, and then we'll rank your favorite version amongst everyone else.
Okay.
So there's the Kempa, Naftali Kempa version, which goes Vehavi Oisim Elar Kochi.
Don't know that.
Oh man, drawing a blank. Okay.
So I don't know that one. Okay.
Okay. I guess it's more of like a classic one.
Could be.
Then there's the Benny Friedman one. Do you know that?
That doesn't get me in the mood for some reason. I don't feel like it did the words justice. It's not bringing me there. Maybe a little bit, but it's not bringing me all the way there. But the famous one, the is that the next one?
Yes. So I know the Jonathan Scheinfeld version. I don't know if he's the original one who sings it.
Definitely not.
But yeah.
Maybe even Baruch Chait. Is it like Baruch Chait or something?
I don't know my pay grade.
Baruch Chait.
You're the history of Jewish music expert over here.
Am I? I don't think so.
Relative.
I just know whatever I grew up with. I don't know half the stuff that I did not grow up with. Like some people tell me, you know, Moshe Goldman, and I'm like, no idea. So
they don't like Colson. He put on an album in 2005.
But Moshe Goldman is like this famous thing in the Hasidic world. At least I did not grow up with any of it. I have no idea who he is. But yeah, so Vavi Yosem, that is definitely a beautiful song. That's also traditional. It's much more traditional.
But there's something about that.
It made its way definitely into the Hasidic world.
Oh, you're saying traditional, like
both everything. Everyone
like
has
culturally.
This. Yeah. But everyone has this. So that one is a beautiful song. I'm going to give it a 5 because it's just straight.
Lock it in a safe place.
Maybe a 6. Should I give it a 6? Because it's in the middle. I think it's like a very neutral, like it's you need it. You can't have Rosh Hashanah without that song.
Yeah, I agree. It's very much a slicha song.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful song, and it definitely speaks to it. Where should we take this? You know what? While we're on the tune of traditionalism, let's do another one. I'm curious where you'll put this one. It's also very much like a classic.
Yeah, so that goes right there. Sorry, I have a thing against it. It's way too overused. It's clear. I'm going to give it a 2. I love the song. I'm just going to give it a 2 because I had enough. I don't want to hear it again.
I kind of agree, but there's something to it also. I guess Rosh Hashanah is also this like, I guess all Jewish holidays have that, but it's like a little bit of like an ancient feeling to it.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me feel like I'm walking into like a shul in the 1500s, even though this tune is probably written more recently than that, but it's like...
Yeah. I think I'm in 60 as far as I'm aware of. I sing it. There's no question about it. When they sing it in shul, I sing along wholeheartedly. But it's not a favorite. Like I would have a lot more like on top of that.
In terms of the Heiligeh Tingles.
In terms of the Heiligeh Tingles, I don't know.
It's a 2.
It gives me like a tingle and a half. The tingle on the tingle chart.
So tingle and a half, we'll round it up to 2.
Depends by who's the Baltrilla. Anyway,
all right. Yeah. And okay, so while we're doing that, let's just get through a couple of those. So there's another one that's very Rosh Hashanah-esque, which is El Hanar Hashem Hispalati.
I quit. I don't like that song.
Stay in your seat, boy.
I don't like it at all. At all.
Really?
I can't. I don't know. It feels a little too like, oh, typical. Well, of course you're gonna make that type of tune. Like, of course it's too. I don't know. It's too regular. It's not pulling me.
Maybe someone needs to make a soft rock version of it. Like it's too much like.
You know something? If I heard Yonatan Razal sing that song, I'm in.
Okay, so. If you're listening and you're a musician, put this out there. Yeah. You know, give us the Heiligeh Tingles.
Give us some tingles.
So where are we putting El Hanar? Is that?
Give me some tingles. What?
So where are we going to put that?
I wish there was a below 0, but I'll put it at 1.
Oh man. Wow.
I know there's some stuff coming that I'm going to be it's going to mess me up, but whatever.
Okay. Here's a song that I sent you about a month ago when I was getting into my Elul mode. It's a Shmuley Unger song. Dirshu Hashem, Dirshu Hashem, Behimotzoi Kedo, Bioisoi Koroi.
I probably listened to it once when you sent it to me. No, I don't know what to say. Can you give it a rating?
I love it. It's like the perfect mix between like soft rock, like the low part is like shtickle rocky, and the high part is like Hartzig. V'yoshuv el Hashem v'yirachameu. Oh man. V'yaleh Elokeinu ki yarbe l'sloyach. Whatever. Okay, let's put it at a safe place. So we have 1, 2, 3. Let's lock it in at 4.
Let's put it up for it, bro. I'm very worried about this. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Well, so what do we have open? We have
So we have 3 more slots open.
7 and 9, right?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. Very good.
7 and 9.
7 and 9.
Okay.
All right.
Memory still works. Thank you.
Here's a fun one.
Let's go. Cool.
I'm so curious what you're going to talk about this next one.
That's one of yours? Yeah, you like that one?
I'll tell you what. I like the Naftali Kempa version of it.
I don't know the Naftali Kempa version.
It's basically the same thing, but it's just different. It's different than the MBD, so it just has like the original one is like too intense. It's like, oh, sure, do it. Sorry, I don't mean to be a hater, but no. And this one is just more like, it's just like, chill out, chill out, bro.
I happen to like the more intense version. I'll tell you why. When I grew up, I was I had a whole bunch of neighbors, all like Hasidic guys. I must have been like, I don't know, 10, maybe 9, 10. And like Rosh Hashanah time came, and some neighbor had a very loud stereo system in his house, and that album came out around then, as far as I remember. I think it was Efshar L'Taken, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And that song starts off with a whole bunch of like shofars, and it goes, ooh, se shuva, ooh, se fila, it's crazy. Yes. So that actually got me in the mood as a kid, which most kids are not really in the mood of this, the davening part of Rosh Hashanah. And that, when I went to shul afterwards, and the chazan said, it was shuva, it was tefillah, so then he said, it was a shuva, it was a tefillah. In my head, I'm like, no, none of that.
Yeah.
Ooh, shuv. And I had that wow. The shofars in my head and blowing. It was blasting. The entire block heard it. And that actually got me in the mood as a kid. So I'm going to give that a 9.
Wow. And as you were saying that, I was definitely getting the Heiligeh Tingles. Like I felt chills as you were saying it. So
that intro for sure. I don't know, but once it starts getting there, whatever you're acting. So I don't know about the tingles there, but the whole intro there's like a max amount of tingles. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to revisit that song because I definitely like discounted it because of like how run of the mill the rest of the song went, and like it just reminds me of like the generic music I listened to as a kid. And so like I'm trying to be out of the box and listen to Kempa, I'm cool like that. But I'm going to give the intro a try again.
By the way, shout out to Candle and Strap. So they have a bunch of merch, a bunch of things. This is Shlomi Zion's. He had a lot of different like t-shirts with different captions on it, different funny like Jewish captions, like Hollywood or something, So I think we have to make a Jewish Tingles. What did we call it? Heiligeh Tingles.
The Heiligeh Tingles.
Heiligeh Tingles t-shirt for Rosh Hashanah.
Okay, coming soon.
Coming soon, Shlomi. Hope you're listening.
All right.
You know Shlomi Daskal? For some reason, I like that one. It's a little like not a lot of people really know that one.
You know what? Let's use that one because
songs that overshadowed it.
I had the Micha Gamerman one in my head, but it's totally slipped my mind now. So
we'll use this one.
Let's use the Daskal one instead.
Wait, hold on. What's available? 5. 5 and what? 5 and 7.
Yeah, 5 and 7.
I'm gonna put it as 7.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's more than halfway through.
So you want to find out what you locked in for 5?
I really want to find out what's going on.
No.
I love that one. I would put that at a 10.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
So you would knock a chilo down.
No, I'm not going to knock a chilo down.
Maybe instead of Yala Tachananenu.
What was that? Yeah. I can switch that with that.
All right, we're swapping it.
Adar, because that Seder Avodah, right? That's at the top. And Adar is the next part of the Avodah, where after the Avodah is done, the Kohen Gadol starts walking through the streets, and then there's a party, and everybody's so happy because they saw the string turn white, and it's crazy. And they saw the Kohen Gadol. I'm not sure if he was wearing his clothing and the bells were ringing. I'm not sure, but it's in my head. It's visual. There's a story. I see the Kohen Gadol walking down the steps of the Beis Hamikdash, walking down into the streets, and there's a parade, and it's beautiful, and it's people singing. It's really it feels like a march, like a real, like a carnival. I don't know.
I see. If everything else is the build-up, then this is the release.
Yeah, but then afterwards is the worst part of my davening. Like afterwards,
what's that?
Right after Emes Adar, I think it goes into like Lefnei Chafileno or something like that, where it's like, and we don't have this. We're gonna do now. Like, no, we don't have this whole party because we don't have this whole mechaper system of the tuism and whatever. And then it gets like a little depressing.
I thought you're going to say it's the worst part because you just like fly through it.
No, it's sad. It's heartbreaking that we can't have that. It really is. I want to add something. Most people don't know this song, but this song is very special to me. I don't know if anyone, but I kind of like came across it. I don't know which album it is, but it's by Sruli Werdiger. So shout out to Sruli Werdiger. Green composed it. It's a Hineni. Before Shemon Esrei, the Chazan gets up there and says Hineni Ani, and it's kind of like it's a personal tefillah of the Chazan trying to say like, I'm not roy for this. This is right. But please listen to my davening, and I'm just representing the kahal, to use an old term, the cool, and Chazan starts crying that, and then there's a part that he says quietly, and then he says "V'sigar v'sutan." There's a lot of emotions going on. There's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of drama in that piece. And Yossi Green made that song for Sruli Werdiger, and he sings from the beginning until the end, as far as I remember. And I just wish, like, if I'm a Bal Tefillah one day, which it's very difficult. You have to remember so many things. But if I get to be a Bal Tefillah, I'm going to sing that entire song, because that will get people just really, really connect to that piece. Otherwise, a lot of people connect to that piece anyway. I feel like there's much more. It's like, it has a very traditional type of feel. It starts off all spooky. It's very, very, very cool. That is tingles tenfold, like way above 10. So that's just another thing that I would add. It might be somewhere between 11 and 12 even. Like, that's really solid.
Lock that in.
We're going to lock. Oh, we have it. Okay.
Yeah. As we're doing this, I had an idea. I'm not sure what you think of it, but I think we should make a playlist and put it in the description so people can
100%. Spotify,
click on it.
Spotify and 24/6. We'll do that.
And a YouTube playlist. For all you plebs. Sorry, we have a lot of love for you. So yeah, that way we can spread the Heiligeh Tingles.
Right.
Kind of concludes the more Heiligeh portion, but we are out of the box. Right? Wouldn't you agree? We're out of the box.
I'm in a different box.
Yeah. We're in a box of our own making.
Created box.
So I'd like to recommend a couple of songs that are not liturgical. They're not from the davening. They're not from it, but they still get me in the vibe of Yom Noraim, Rosh Hashanah.
So we're doing a top what?
Should we rate these two? Let's do it.
Maybe I don't know them. Who knows?
So I'll probably have to tell you most of them. Okay. We know for the future. You got
your mic. You got your. I don't know how it works. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So let's do this from 1 to 6. What should we start with?
6.
Let me start with this one. Let me start with the one I think you do know. In fact, I think you told me about this song, which is, it's not strictly a davening song, but it is Yom Noraim song.
Def Man Shtiebel?
Well, that's right.
That's a beautiful song. It is a davening.
So you want to tell people what that's about? What is Def Man Shtiebel about?
Def Man Shtiebel, well, it's a very famous song. I heard it first from Country LC. I don't think it's Jewish to begin with. I think it comes from even the whole idea of the song, something about a bowl game and a father couldn't see his son play. And then when the father died, he was able to see his son play for the first time. So this goes, it's more about a chazan who had a father who was deaf, and his father was never able to hear him sing. And Kippur came, and this guy's not there. Neither is his father. And then he comes late, and the Rav is like, what happened? And for some reason, he davened like beautifully, amazing. And he said, what happened? Like, first of all, why you were so late? Why were you late? And why, and how come you sang so beautifully? He said, this is the first time my father heard me sing because he died. And it gives you like that kick that like, you can, to me, it feels like you can always give it that. Like, really, you can always do that because our fathers could hear us sing. And our Father up there hears us sing all the time, and we're talking to him, and you can really, really give it all you got as long as you keep that in mind. It can give you some chills. I don't know about the tingles. It gives you chills.
It's the secular chills.
Secular chills. The tinglers, the tingles TM. Yeah.
Yes. So where would you put that?
I don't know what I'm getting myself into now.
Yeah, bro.
It's coming. Go ahead and give it a 6. I'm going to go straight up there.
I thought
really
so.
good. I'm shooting myself in the foot.
So, all right. I think it's a good choice. I think you won't regret that. I think I'm learning your musical taste by now. So one that I think you might like is 2 versions of the song. It's a song called Good Life. One of them is by One Republic, and the other one is the Maccabees cover of that, also for Rosh Hashanah.
Book of Life.
Yeah, pulling in for a good life. I just want to live a good life.
So naturally they cover the Book of Life. Okay.
This could really be a good life.
The Book of Life. So I don't relate to that as much. It's a little too poppy for me. Like it's too much of a dance and like whatever. So for me, I'm gonna put it down to a 2. It kind of feels
Surprising.
like throwing off the tingles, like getting rid of my tingles.
Yeah, maybe we should differentiate. This isn't about tingles.
I know.
It's just about vibes.
But prepare for a day of awe. I want to feel warmth, and that for some reason that song doesn't give me warmth. It does give me some vibes, some like dancey vibes, but not the warmth.
This is more of just like, I guess as we kind of leave the shul aspect and head more into the cultural aspect of it.
How you're preparing also, like how this is how you get involved.
Yeah. And in like Maccabee, it's 613, they have, like parodies of pop songs that they turn Jewish. And so there's a couple that 613 has like, can we go back? This is the moment. So they did like a version of that for Rosh Hashanah. So it's like, it's very upbeat. It's like, woo, we're being judged by the Lord. Let's do this. So it's kind of that energy, you know?
You know what it reminds me of? You know the famous mashal of the kid who had a court case, and he's like really not nervous at all, and he's gets before the judge, and everybody's like, you don't look nervous, and he's like, yeah, don't worry. Finally, he the time comes and he gets his verdict, and the judge says, you're free to go. He's like, he seems like, yeah, whatever, like duh. And they ask him after, he's like, why were you nervous? He says, you don't understand, the judge is my father. So it kind of gives off that kind of vibe. When I hear the Maccabees, where it's kind of like, I don't need, like, it's fine, I don't need the tingles. I'm okay. I'm like assured. That's another aspect of Yom Narayan, is to feel assured. Like, don't worry. Yeah, I'll do my part. I'll do my tshuva. I'll do everything. But ultimately, he wants what's best for me. He's not dipping me into deep fried. He's not doing that. So, yeah. There's a certain reassuredness.
Yeah, and I think I'll speak for myself. I think even the Heiligeh Tingles, like that's not so much like we said before. It's not about fear. It's just about inspiration. It's like you listen to any piece of music that is dramatic, or like you're watching a movie and there's like the climax, the crescendo, and the music is like kicking in. It's not like you're afraid of the movie per se. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's that feeling. We're not going for the being deep fried, for the wowness, and this kind of is adjacent to that, like we're almost running parallel. Like there's the wow, and then there's the fun, the woohoo.
It's the tracks. It is a track. It's called a track, but like a roller coaster has the cart. You're in the cart, but you need the track. The soundtrack. I always said, I wish life would have a soundtrack. Life had a sound. Some people are able to tune into it, like the birds outside and the wind. These are soundtracks in life. It can actually help you, your day go along smoother, and it can get you into this mood, into that mood. But sometimes we're blessed with music. We have music. We can turn on the music, and that's part of the soundtrack. Each one has its own, his own playlist, his own things that he likes, and these are soundtracks of life, and it can get you into. So this is very, we're getting to that high point, and you can turn on whatever music gets you there.
Keep going through these.
Yeah, go.
So another one that is like totally from left field, I'm gonna hit you with it, is a song called Clementine. Or,
oh no,
oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine.
You recognize that? I recognize that.
Yeah, what is that?
The apple, right?
Yes.
It's the apple and on. So how old is this song?
So this is part of me being a Jewish nerd. And basically the song is about a man who falls in love with the daughter of a miner. So the low part goes, there was a miner 49er and his daughter Clementine. Oh my darling. And the story is about how she dies, and he is sad about it, and he's singing.
And he just sings about it. So naturally we took it as dip the apple on.
I spent 2 months trying to scour the internet for like, why, what is the connection? The closest I got was an article, I think from Mishpacha from like 2010. And it just like explained it. The author basically just acknowledged that it was a connection, but I have no idea what the connection is.
Wow. I wonder if it's like Uncle Moshe. Like, how old is the?
I think it's Uncle Moshe.
Yeah?
I don't have any evidence for that claim, but my gut is telling me Uncle Moshe, because he did that with stuff I do recognize, like Gummy Bear. He took that, like
he did, yeah.
He took a lot of like nursery rhymes.
Yeah, he does all those things. I know. I wanted to specifically this one.
Very possible that Uncle Moshe took Clementine.
Interesting.
I guess I didn't write that in the essay because I had no evidence for that.
Uncle Moshe, if you're listening to this, please let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's a few different versions. There's one that's more like esque, and it kind of reminisces of like the mines and like the Old West. And so it kind of gives that
feeling. It sounds like a Johnny Cash type of.
Yeah. Oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever.
Oh man, that's very country, very sad.
It's very dark.
Wow.
Well, I'm realizing now, yeah, it's a pretty dark song.
Happy, sweet New Year.
Yeah. So where are we going to put that?
Well, that's a classic. So, when my kid comes home from yeshiva and starts singing these songs, it does get me in the mood. I remember, when I did that, siblings. Yeah. So I already put something at a 6. I'll put that at a 5.
All right. Respect that.
Yeah. I would want to put it higher, but it's too late.
So the next one, I'm not sure how you're going to react to this. So one of the things that we say in davening is an asana takeoff, where we go through a bunch of, who will live, who will die. And again, it's very much like
how we will die.
Fire and brimstone. Yeah. And so who by fire, who by water. And so Cohen, who's famous for the song, Hallelujah. So he did a version of those words, and he took it, and it goes like, by fire. And happens to be, I personally don't love it.
I can't stand Leonard Cohen's house. Even that song, it's just he's very dark.
Very dark energy. Yeah. And the lyrics themselves are dark, and
he's Jewish. We need to bring him to the light. We need to bring him to the light.
Well, yeah.
Well,
no comments.
Not anymore. Well, what do you mean no comments? What happened?
Oh, nothing. But
dead?
Oh, no, I have an idea about that. But yeah, like every single year, somebody manages to send me this song, and it's like, have you heard this song? It's like, yes, I heard this song.
That, and
we get it.
People send around Hineni. He has a song called Hineni.
This is the one you mentioned before, or a different one? By Werdiger and Green?
No. Hineni, like here I am. There's the Hineni, the concept of like just I'm here. Well, I'm here, I'm present. Just like Hineni, and it's like really creepy and dark. I run away. So if it's a cover of a Leonard Cohen song, I'll listen to it. If it's Leonard Cohen singing, I'm out. I'm done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to look into that.
Because even the Hallelujah song, he doesn't sing every single other person sings it. He has much more of a spoken type of,
Right. The pentatonics version. Which
Right, exactly.
lot.
But he narrates his songs it's more like a narration than like he can be like David Attenborough. Is it David Attenborough?
Yeah.
National Geographics.
We have the Jews going into the synagogue. They shuffle back and forth as they connect to their God.
And we'll go home to eat.
Yes. They reminisce of a time where they took 2 goats.
They migrated from Europe. Anyway.
So what we're putting Leonard Cohen.
Hold on. So Leonard Cohen, that song, yeah, I think I've heard it once. I'm going to put it straight like down at 1.
At a 1. All right, so we got 2 more. Let me introduce you to, so are you familiar with the artist Jericho? Do you know Jericho?
I mean, I've heard of it. I don't know.
So, yeah, Jericho's an interesting person. I don't know too much about him, but like during COVID.
Yericho.
No, it's Jericho. It's spelled like Jeyryko, like, because we have to be hipster like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's Chabad per se, but he's like Chabad adjacent.
Oh, okay.
A lot of like, pretty middle of the road songs that are not like particularly religious or anti-religious, but they have like religious subtext to a lot of the songs. As one that I feel like fits into the Rosh Hashanah Yom Noraim theme, it's called Fighting For. Goes, what are you fighting for? And I think also it's like, where did your flame go? Is it lost amongst the crossfire, drowning in the ocean? What are you fighting for?
I think I may have heard it once. Recognizing it.
Where did your flame go?
So it sounds nice.
It's a really,
if I remember it, like I'm not sure if I remember it or not.
So check it out. We'll put it in the playlist.
Can we put it at 3? Because it sounds nice.
It's okay. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have spot number 4. You want to hear what you locked in for spot number 4?
Lock it. I don't know.
So you locked in Gershon Verova.
I know he's coming. Okay.
Yes. So there's the song September by Earth, Wind and Fire. So he did one about Jewish September, which is all about slichus. So it goes, well, tell me you remember the slichus in September.
Oh, I know. Okay.
El Hatfilah, Tshuva will return his way. I'm ready?
I'm happy about that. So Gershon Verova was always he's always a hit. Gershon, everything he does is just gold. He has an amazing voice. Mm-hmm. And he can do covers like nobody else. Pretty happy that he's at number 4. Like it works.
So yeah, folks, definitely look in the description. We'll have that playlist. Get the tingles, get the fun vibes. Move on to the next part.
Depends on our studio audience. Yeah, you good? You don't need a chair? Totally fine. Shout out to
the studio audience.
Kosher Artisans. Kosher Artisans is a shtickle sponsor here. Makes good sourdough. Check them out in all the stores in Bar Park. Pretty much all the stores. And if it's not in one store, just go to the next one. They'll have great sourdough. I get them every single week. No matter where I am, I take along my sourdough, and I promise you, this is unlike anyone else. I left it in my car once. I was packing the car. I was gonna go to like Lakewood, and I left it in my car for like 20 minutes. And I opened the doors, and the place smelled like, I can't even describe the smell. It was just beautiful. Mamash, like as if the doors of the basement like this just opened. I was in heaven.
Did you get the Heiligeh Tingles?
I got Shabbos Tingles. Shabbos Tingles is a whole different thing.
That's a different ballgame. You're going to have to teach me about that.
Oh, man. It's closer and closer to Shabbos. We'll have a special Shabbos episode, maybe one of these.
For sure. You're going to have to come with your machberas and do some education.
And some good playlists. So I heard you're here to give some more about food. We're talking about food. Mm-hmm. So tell me.
See what you did there.
Yeah. Good segue. Sick segue.
It's totally sick. So, yeah. So another development. So there's like the music aspect, the tefillas. Another huge element of Rosh Hashanah is the food. In fact, we have a whole thing where we eat like little bits of food as simanim. So I did some research into that about a year ago for a video on the Yiddishkeit channel. Some of the food that goes into a Rosh Hashanah. So I guess talk about what I found and, tell me what stands out to you, what kind of foods speak to you. So the Gemara in Krisos says that there are 5 foods in particular that Abai recommends you eat because the names of those foods are a type of affirmation. So the foods he mentions is pumpkin, Greek, which is like a type of bean, I guess. There's leeks, beets, and dates. And again, like all of those, like, for example, fenugreek is called rubia, which has like the word to yirbu. Yeah, things like that. There's karti, which comes like kares, to cut off, I believe so. Tamri. So all of these foods.
Yeah, by the way, pumpkin in your little Simonim guide that everyone has, everyone has theirs. If you have it in English, it's gourd as far as I'm aware of, right? It says gourd.
Right. So they're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah, it's like a squash or a pumpkin, like that type of vegetable.
Right. And then in more recent
pumpkins
times.
are kosher.
Yes.
Just in case.
So that's a good point.
I think it's not kosher.
That's hilarious. Why? Because of Halloween?
Yeah, it's like pumpkins are not Jewish. It's not a Jewish food. What do you mean? They say if you want to chase away anyone collecting by your door, you put a pumpkin at the edge.
That's funny.
No one's going. So don't try this out.
So that's what's so interesting is that I also had that association, obviously, that pumpkins are gayish. But what I realized by learning this Gemara is that pumpkins is a fall food, and that a lot of this is, we're coming to the end of the year, we're reflecting, and a part of that is to eat foods that represent the season. And so,
grow at that time.
They grow at that time. And so a lot of the foods obviously have like affirmations in their names or what they represent. Like pomegranates have a lot of seeds and stuff. And so our merits should be plenty like the seeds. But a lot of it is also just embracing the season. And like apples, like apple picking, this is the season. Apple cider, this is the season.
It's like a harvest type of. Is it a harvest?
I think so. Yeah,
this is universally every like culture had a harvest mission, and so they always had different harvest foods. Like even Thanksgiving has like harvest foods and stuff.
Exactly.
So we have our own harvest foods, but this is what I like about this. I'll tell you why. Chassidus brought back this concept. Everybody thinks, it's Chassidish Torah, he kind of like worked it into gefilte fish means this, and therefore, and he can do it. It's like, hold on, everybody take a step back. Everything we do has meaning and even deeper meaning. So, for instance, let's say, a shtramel, like we wear a shtramel on Shabbos, and I just heard this explanation and it fascinated me. It's like, okay, you just like kind of winded it into it, but something about it makes sense because we're talking about taking the mundane and elevating it and making it holy. Mm-hmm. So on Shabbos, every person has an Or HaMakif, a light that surrounds him. And now, if you want to take it just as a rule, when you have a word that has an aleph, and then if you can change that aleph into an ayin, it becomes from a spiritual thing to a physical thing. So Or, light, becomes Or with an ayin, skin or fur. Or hamakif, a light that surrounds you. Take it and take the physical version of that and wear it. It's an Or, skin or fur that surrounds you, and it surrounds your head. And you put on a straddle like that, and you're really representing what Shabbos is about in a physical form. And that's really what Judaism is all about. We're all about taking everything around us because we're here. We are here in the physical world. We're not like monks. We're not kind of like, taking everything away and just, I'm just going to sit here and do my prayers. That's not what we're here for. We're here to use this world and to really use it to our advantage to connect to the spiritual. So we're connecting both worlds. And that's why, like you see all these things, the simonim, eating this because it represents that, eating that because it represents that. But also, it's not just that it represents that. You have that, whatever that bracha is that you're getting, this schussim or whatever, all these different things that it represents, you're getting that, and we're eating this to kind of make that connection. It's like, now, this is how I relate to it. As a human, I'm relating to Zechusim, many Zechusim, Shenifra, the Nirbek Dagam, I think. Yeah. I want a lot, like we want to multiply. I'm connecting to that through eating these foods. And by saying it, you have that intention. Otherwise, without the intention, it's worthless.
Right. Affirmations in general, people like myself sometimes say affirmations, like a lot of affirmations are like, I am statements. Mm-hmm. And
I am strong. I am successful.
Yeah. And like a struggle is that, well, what if I'm not? So am I lying? And the answer is no, you're not lying. You are saying, you're putting your mind where you want yourself to be. And I think that's kind of analogous to what you're saying, that, you know, these foods are kind of a memento of sorts, or the shtreimel is kind of guiding your awareness to where you want to be. Exactly. And
focus.
That's what the food is for. And so it's kind of like, again, this whole season is about reflection. It's about feeling the Heiligeh Tingles. And so that's what the food is for also, you know, like to guide you and to channel your awareness towards like, it's reflection on yourself, on connecting with others, connecting with something greater than yourself, or, you know, just the culture of where we come from. So yeah, I think the foods have a lot of power. And so like, for someone like myself, like I love a good pumpkin spice latte. And like, you might think, you know, I'm a basic white girl, which is true, but there's also something special to that like, it's pumpkin. It's one of the simanim, and it's a fall themed food.
So you'll have a pumpkin spice latte like Elul time.
Yes. Or like apple cider is another great example. It's like a fall themed food. So yeah, I want to have that. Like when I grow up, I want my Rosh Hashanah Tish to have like pumpkin spice lattes, apple cider. Years ago, I found salad, and it had pomegranate molasses, which is like, you know, like a kind of vinegary on it. But I'll just like, it's kind of random, but it's pomegranate. And so it fits in. And like, you might not see the connection, but if it guides your awareness, then it works.
Right. As long as you, as long as I was like, how much of a shear do I have to have in order to say the Eruts? Just stop it. Just take a little bit. And
exactly.
It's about your intention. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about the feeling. And again, some people are very much like rules-based, you know, like, oh, this is science. Yeah, and if it works for you, great. But for those that it doesn't,
like a checklist. It's like, okay, what are this? Okay, that. Okay, my connection is here. Good. It's like you're not actually connecting.
I'm very glad you mentioned that. Yeah, and I think to kind of loop everything around and tie a nice bow around it, my channel is about, and what I think your show is about as well is, you know, Yiddishkeit is not a checklist. You know, I worked in a Judaica store for a year, and I noticed that like, it's very easy to reduce Yiddishkeit to a checklist. You know, I got the right foods, the right clothing, the right items, the right books, and I'm basically good to go. It's true. A lot of people do that. And it's honestly like a shell. There's no soul to it. And I think it's about like, how do you feel that soul? And what is soul exactly? And I think the way we've been describing it is this, the way you know it's something is soulful is when you feel the tingles, when you feel the chills, when you feel the vibes. And when you're feeling that, that's how you know you're connecting to something that's more than simply a checklist. It's meaningful. And, you know, if it has to be through One Republic or 613 or My Darling Clementine or Isha Ribo or whoever it is, like you're trying to find something that means something to you. And that's really where the heart of it is. Yeah, in my mind.
That's not to say that like, if you don't feel the tingles, don't do it. Where there's, you know, to get the tingles, you have to try to work on getting the tingles. Like if you know this thing, like I'm not trying to get the tingles off, I don't know, climbing the Empire State Building. Like that's not my life, right? My life is trying to get the tingles like in an artificial way, like, oh, and that's the only reason why I'm doing it is just to feel this high. It's to connect to Hashem, and that gives you tingles. You feel a certain way when you're connecting to Hashem. It does. It feels a certain way. I'm not doing it to feel that way. Like it's not like a drug. Right. I'm doing it because I know, like, that's kind of my guide. Like, where am I going? Oh, okay, this feels right. This feels right. Mm-hmm. A lot of things don't feel right. If it's in the Shulchan Aruch, it's definitely not a checklist. Like if it was a checklist, it would fit on your fridge. Shulchan Aruch doesn't fit on your fridge. So I once said, I was like, try to fit the Shulchan Aruch on your fridge. It doesn't work. It's not a checklist.
I think that's another slogan.
These are things that we have to do. These are things that are here for us. And now how do we connect to it? Find a way. Whatever way there is, we're given a lot of tools. We're given like music, we're given foods. There's so many different ways to actually connect to these mitzvahs and to connect to these traditions and to these minhagim. And yeah, each to their own.
Hopefully, you know, this conversation was helpful for you and for whoever's listening. I think when a person's in alignment, like I speak for myself, when I'm in alignment with what I believe and, you know, I was going to quote Kamala Harris, where we were, where we're going, but
unburdened by what has been.
Yeah. But connecting to where we come from and being in alignment with your values and doing it through a way that's meaningful. I think that's the essence of at least my Yiddishkeit.
That's beautiful. All right, so that was a nice talk, beautiful conversation. And to the viewers, I want you to subscribe. It's time. You got to subscribe. Let's go. No, now, right now. I think the button is, it's on that. Subscribe, click the notification button, and help us grow our channel. Share, comment, like, and yeah. Happy Rosh Hashanah.
Shkoyach.
See you soon, Tova.